Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I'll start off this broadcast. See, I'll get some people in the chats. If this is your first time listening, you may want to consider subscribing so you can be part of the live stream. If you're watching the show after it's been broadcast, hit the bell notification. You'll know when I go live. But anyway, we're going to be talking about what's happening in the area down south. And we all know what the name of that nation is. And on my thumbnail, I got a picture that says, they want him bad. Now, who wants him bad? Well, the people want him good. But the ones in control want him. Hi, Nikki. How's everything going? I hope I'm coming in clear. I'm going to play a short video to see how my transmission is doing. And if you could let me know, I'd appreciate it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and play this video once I get it expanded. I hope everybody's doing all right. Let me cut my mic off so you can hear. These TikTok videos are a little blurry, but you should be able to get the gist of it.
Eradicate our liberty. America will always be the proud, strong, and unyielding bastion of freedom. We must reject the perennial prophets of doom and their predictions of apocalypse. They are tell them, you have them, and we all have them. And they want to see us do it. We don't let it happen. Crisis in the 1960s, mass starvation in the 70s, and an end of oil in the 1990s. These alarmists always demand to stay, dominate, transform every life. We will let radical socialists destroy or eradicate our liberty. Will always be.
Okay, you get the gist of it. That's all right. I just won't play any videos with a voice on it tonight. I got a lot of heavy clouds, but I do have some articles I want to go over and some mentions from our previous source information. That's where I got this meme. How could anyone think the media is biased? Remember Time Magazine? Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Patriot. How you doing? Interesting tidbits. Michelle. Everybody show up. Where's Bubba? Ha ha. Charlotte, I can't go back so far if you're out. Anybody I miss? Wild West, how you doing? So I hope my voice is coming in clear at least. If I get a clear, spotless day, I can get away with these videos a little better. But anyway, if you all notice, the video I put up, or the picture I put up, was Bolsonaro's. And it happened to be when a crowd was carrying him on their shoulders. And I went ahead and found the pictures and an article, a recent article of that discusses the attempt on his life. We're finally running the world now. Well, we're getting there. Wild West says we're finally running the world now. Well, we'll see. We're getting there. Now, I had a couple of videos I wanted to play, but since they're playing choppy, I'm hold off till I got a better day, not so cloudy. But I do have some very interesting articles I want to play for you, read to you, and that are very important, and talk about some other topics of the day. Now, this just so happens to be the moment when someone attempt on Bolsonaro. This is moments before when the crowd had it on their shoulders, and you see the highlighted area there, a person who came up with a weapon, and moments later you see the aftermath, which is in the thumbnail. And this is a picture from 2018, a collage from another angle coming up, and the crowd carrying him to safety. Now, most of us discussed last night, we never heard this. We never heard this. And as I will show you in an article I'm going to put up here, the person who did this to him was released. They said he was mentally ill, and he was, as far as I know, not put in jail or anything. So you tell me how that can happen. Of course, we've got the person who tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan doing YouTube videos, and that's something. So anyway, I'll show you why I put that up there, that they want him bad. Now, if you see this symbol, and I may put it on a past or future broadcast, this is general strike, is what that means. And the word on the street is that the people really have no other recourse but to resort to general strike. So if you see that symbol and those words, that's what it means. And of course, we're going to support the people, whatever they decide, and hopefully that they can come out of it okay. Now, this article I'm going to go over, let me see where it's here in my studio. You know, we've got a lot of stuff. I said stuff was going to be coming out like a trickle and was going to turn into a fire hose. We're getting to that point, especially since we found out about the Biden papers, the classified documents. They're going to expose a lot of stuff. But before we get into that, let me see how these articles are. Here we go. I went to research what happened was going on with Bolsonaro's and had happened and what is happening now. Bolsonaro said he underwent treatment in Florida for 2018 assault. Then they had Bolsonaro was discharged from the hospital after being treated. And Bolsonaro tweets photo of himself in hospital, calls for him to be expelled from the U.S. So I'll get into that in a minute. And then this is the article I took a copy of. Them. We'll go over with you tonight. Where is Bolsonaro? He's hospitalized in Florida, but as we know, he's already been discharged by the article that was let out about the same time. So this article is pulled up, and we're going to see who stands where. Where is Bolsonaro? Well, we already know he's been discharged, and these reporters already know he's been discharged. But they put on the headline, where's Bolsonaro? After Brazil riot, ex-president hospitalized in Florida. Bolsonaro's hospitalization on Monday comes amid questions about what his role in his election-denying rhetoric. Now, this reporter, who is this? Reporter is calling him an election denier. I'll find out. It's somebody from the Washington Post. Oh, there she is. Annabelle Timsit. Okay. What his role, election denying rhetoric, may have played in paving the way for violence by the Bolsonaro sandinistas. That's what they're labeling the people. And that's back from Saul Alinsky's book, uh, uh, Rules for Radicals. You label people. So they're labeling Bolsonaristas. And it goes on to say, as supporters of Brazil's former president stormed the government buildings to challenge his election loss, Bolsonaro was thousands of miles away, in Florida. A day after the insurrection, which led police to detain some 1,500 of his supporters, Bolsonaro was admitted to a hospital for abdominal pain tied to a past stab wound, his wife said. Bolsonaro's hospital, they come out and say it was an assassination attempt. Okay? Well, it was a past stab wound, like he's in a bar or something. Bolsonaro's hospitalization comes Monday comes amid questions about what his role, blah, 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 paving the way for violence. So, of course, they got to drill that same paragraph I already read into everybody's head. That he has a role, okay? They had to put that in there twice so you inculcate it in your brain. So it's leading officials to explain Bolsonaro's presence in Florida as Washington Democratic lawmakers call for Bolsonaro to be kicked out of the United States. My husband, Jair Bolsonaro, is under observation in a hospital due to abdominal discomfort as consequence of stab wounds he took in 2018 from a former member of the Socialism and Liberty Party. Former member? Yeah, okay. Michelle Bolsonaro wrote in an Instagram post, "We're praying for his health and for Brazil." So let's see if these things are in order. I'm sorry. I'll try to get them in order as I go. Many in Brazil, please still hold him partially responsible for fueling the baseless belief among some of us. Baseless belief, okay? That the election was stolen from him. He has repeatedly cast doubt on the integrity of Brazil's electoral process, and he refused to concede to his opponent, Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva, after Lula won the election runoff on October 30th. Bolsonaro flew to Florida in December, shortly before his term ending, skipping the inauguration, as some analysts speculated that he seeking to avoid possible legal trouble in Brazil. Democratic lawmakers ramped up the pressure on the White House and on Florida. What are they ramping up the pressure for? Oh, let's see. Where he's been hiding for accountability for his crimes. Bolsonaro must not be given refuge. Where he's been hiding from accountability for his crime, says Representative Joaquin Castro, Democrat, Texas. He should be extradited to Brazil. So that's one that's got to go. Castro. He's got a fitting name as far as I'm concerned. U.S. officials on Monday acknowledged the questions surrounding Bolsonaro's stay in Sunshine State, responding to reports that Bolsonaro entered the United States on an A1 diplomatic visa for heads of state. Department spokesman Ned Price said he could not comment on any individual's immigration status, but the apparent tacit recognition that Bolsonaro could be using a diplomatic visa. Price said that A1 diplomatic visa holders had 30 days to either leave or apply for a different visa at the conclusion of their term in office. If a visa holder is no longer engaged in official business on behalf of the government, it is incumbent for the visa holder to depart the U.S. or request a change to another immigration status within 30 days. If an individual has no basis on which to be in the United States, the individual is subject to removal by the Department of Homeland Security. Yeah, just like they're doing down south, right? Like they're doing where Biden just went. Biden just visited. Internal Security Advisor, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, remember him? He's a target of a Durham investigation. Said the White House was not in touch with Bolsonaro and had not received any official requests. Let's see, this is the next one. And it's going to say from the Brazilian government. Yeah, here we go. From the Brazilian government related to him, but would treat seriously any official requests to send him back to Brazil. You know, they want to drag him back there because they can do to him what they're trying to do to Trump in this country. Okay? If the military lets them. Bolsonaro on Monday told CNN Brazil that he intends to leave the United States and return to Brazil earlier than planned to seek medical care at home. I came to the United States to stay until the end of the month, but I intend to bring forward my return because in Brazil, the doctors already know about my intestinal obstruction problem because of the stab wound, he said. Bolsonaro was stabbed. Let's see how they play this out. Bolsonaro. Let's see. Let me get the rest of the article over here. In the abdomen, 2018 was when he was a candidate for president as a campaign stop. A judge ruled that the man accused, Elidio Bispo de Oliveira, was too mentally ill to be held responsible for his actions. Bolsonaro spent weeks in the hospital after the stabbing and subsequently underwent several surgeries to repair his abdomen. He was hospitalized again around this time last year with what he called an internal obstruction in the abdominal region, tied to complications from his stabbing. He was released 2 days ago when his condition improved. At the time, he tweeted that it was his second hospital admission that he, with the, let's see, same symptoms in just a few months. On Monday, he said he was hospitalized again for the same condition. This is already my third hospitalization for severe intestinal obstruction. He told CNN Brazil, I came to spend some time away with the family, but I didn't have calm days. First, there was this regrettable episode yesterday, Sunday. He's talking about the protests, and then my admission to the hospital. In his tweet, he said he was grateful for the prayers and messages of a prompt recovery. So he did come out and say that the actions that some of the people were taking was illegal and regrettable, but this is not slowing anybody down who's trying to blame him and drag him back to the country and prosecute him. Now, this admiral, I've got another picture of him that says his name. I'll have to dig that up and put it up in the post. But this fellow tweeted out, in an unprecedented moment for Brazilian politics, the current former commander of the Brazilian Navy didn't go to the change of command of the force and doesn't recognize Lula as the president. And he was mentioned in past communications, and I'll put his name and another picture of him up in a future broadcast if I can pull that up. But you see here that this character who is who has been inaugurated, I'll put it that way. He shows up after everything, and I will play a short video that I recovered, and if it plays choppy, it doesn't matter as long as you can see the behavior of the people involved. But anyway, he says the Brazilian people can no longer trust certain police forces. Calls for examples to be made so this never happens again. They ousted the mayor of the capital, Brasilia, and they also turned on their police forces. And from what I understand, the military is in opposition to the police force bothering protesters who are still on military property. They have taken 1,500 estimated prisoners and put them in what they call a gymnasium. Now here is a collage of pictures that show him arriving and looking at all the broken glass. See him down there in the bottom right-hand corner. Oh, my. And then they have the police forces out. And this other picture in the top right-hand corner has the police on one side and the army on the other. But they don't put that out in the media. But it's kind of a standoff as to who's going to do what. So I am going to play this video, even though it's choppy. I got two of them. One I had to re-record. I don't know what happened to it. But you see here somebody with a red flag. Okay? And I think it will play twice. But you watch that person in the yellow shirt, left-hand side, center screen in the yellow shirt. And this is before the crowd got there, okay? These are people destroying property before the crowd shows up, and they're carrying a flag that represents the party that, quote, won, okay? So they're clearly kicking out windows and breaking things up before the crowd gets there. Now this next video plays on a loop twice. And I want to tell you that the people that were videoing, they need to thank God that they had a camera, because they would have got Ashley'd, okay? They would have got Ashley'd. And yeah, they had their own shaman. They had their own shaman, if you know what I mean. Certain letter in the alphabet, shaman. Very reminiscent. So you watch this police officer, you can see him. I will expand. Let me see. I might play it twice. But you see him almost dead center above the white arrow. You see him in a position where he is pointing his sidearm, okay? And these people showed up, and this place was demolished. And who was in there but the police? And how did these people get treated?
Apontando arma! Olha lá, ó! Olha lá! Olha lá! É com arma lá, ó! Olha lá! O cara puxando a arma! Olha o cara! Puxando a arma lá, ó! Olha lá, ó!
So these people showed up, and you see the appliances there laying out, all the broken glass, and the place is totally trashed, and there's nobody there but these police officers. And then when these people show up, they're treated like they're the vandals. So what happened to the vandals? They just airlifted up into the sky like Peter Pan. They just escaped and nobody saw them. So hopefully we'll be finding more and more videos like that. But the streets had tens of thousands of people on the way, and they put up roadblocks. And I tell you, it's probably hundreds of thousands of people that didn't get involved because the roads were blocked off, and that may have been, the military's way of protecting them from possible, definite persecution, arrest, or whatever. So let me play this video. You'll see how the people were acting in the streets trying to get to the Capitol.
Sete? Oh, aí sim! Sete. Agora vai, agora vai! Agora vai! Agora consegue o objetivo. Brasil!
Well, they had their camera sideways, but you could see what that young lady's sign said. And there were just thousands of vehicles. So these are things that I'm hoping will get out more and more. Jax, I know the video's choppy up. Okay. Is my voice choppy? Is my voice choppy? And because if it is, there's not much I can do about it except go to a different streaming service. I just wanted to get these articles and pictures up. Let's see, where was that? Now, the situation, so with Bolsonaros, you know that the playbook is the same as J6, the same players. And I hope my voice is coming in not choppy. Last thing I see is from Jax, says choppy. 5x5 truth. Well, okay, Awake Trillium says 5x5. So, all right. So we got Bolsonaros. They want him back and they want to arrest him. He says he's going back. He's acting perfectly normal. He's acting like, well, I came here. I wanted to stay to the end of the month. I started feeling bad. Now I got to go back because my doctors know what to do. And all the while, you got people in the House of Representatives saying he's a criminal, using language that we never thought we would have heard someone speaking about, a former head of state. But then again, we never thought we'd hear people say about our president what they've been saying about Donald Trump for the last 6 years. unprecedented collapse of civility. Of course, we were witnessing an unprecedented collapse of the rule of law. At least we're seeing the evidence coming out about it now. So anyway, just before I go on to the next subject, I want to put up something. Those of you who were with me on my first channel that got taken down will remember that I had testimony from some people. My videos got taken down, and then my whole channel got taken down. And I was just reporting. But I'm encouraged because a prominent person, a prominent site, the Rubin Report, has put up a video concerning the same person I played a video about before I got taken down. Chloe, okay? And that probably triggers something, that name. But he put that out 5 days ago, and it's still up, so I'm encouraged. But this is a trend of young people who are coaxed into doing something to change their natural condition, and they are trying to reverse it. And so I see this video up with the same person I played last year, and I'm hoping that they're loosening their guidelines and allowing these people to tell their side of the story. These young underage people who, in some cases, have been damaged to the point that they can't reclaim their lives, normal lives. But hopefully this person, Chloe, can. And also, this came out. Okay. New report exposes. And this is another prominent person on social media, a younger person that a lot of people have heard about. And I've picked on him a few times about some of his positions or whatever. But he's using that word, okay? The GROO in his title. He put this up earlier, 21 hours ago, and it hasn't been taken down. Okay? Massive scandal in public schools. And this was Michigan, okay, is the part of the report I heard. And he put in the word in his thumbnail picture. You see the R word, okay? So I got taken down for that kind of stuff, pointing it out. Another article in Breitbart. A pushback is what I will call this. A pushback. This is unbelievable. This is one city. One city. You can read the title yourself. This is in Chicago. The prior video I've showed you from Poole, I believe was Michigan. So there are thousands of cases because these are hundreds of teachers. You multiply that in the different cities. These are thousands getting exposed. And we're talking 5 to 10 times that in victims. Okay? And so some of those unsealed indictments may be getting, some of the sealed indictments may be getting unsealed. Okay, so you got two big outlets and young people like this coming forward. Let me see what this one is before I go on. Oh, this one I didn't do a story on a couple of weeks ago. Iran protests. Everybody was talking about Brittany Griner being in these horrible conditions over in Russia. Oh, gosh, all they had was a little bit of pot and whatever. Well, the Iranian soccer players who stood in solidarity with women in Iran who don't want to walk around with a wrapped up in a bed sheet, they were executed. Some of them were executed. And there are large scale protests breaking out. And you know, it's going to be difficult. These tyrannical countries like the one we just covered with Bolsonaros and Iran, you know, they clamp down on their social media and you can't get a lot of information out, but they do get it out. But those soccer players, when they came home, they were arrested and they were executed. And whoever thought a man who served his country and someone tried to assassinate him in 2018, and he brought his country prosperity, safety. He left office in a peaceable way. He asked for his supporters to be peaceable. He came to this country. What happened, happened. He condemned lawbreakers. They want him back. Because what did they do in the Bolshevik Revolution? Those of you who know history. Where do we get the story about Anastasia from? Anastasia. The hopes that she may have survived when the entire family of Tsar Nicholas was executed. Okay? That's the only way they hang on to power. That's the only way they hang on to power. So, I was going through some posts, and that's how I came up with this one I put up earlier about media bias, how they treated Obama versus how they treated Trump. And I came across another picture because we were told to remember and keep an eye out for resignations, okay? Resignations, those who resign have submitted and will do as they're told. Well, you remember the CEO of Victoria's Secret. This picture was a reminder that they are getting called out. They're getting called out by a power outside the big club. Okay? And he resigned during this time his picture was put up. The chairman of Victoria's Secret. And if I've got the article in here about Ben Sass, he resigned. Is this him? Let me see. No, this is Rogers. He's the one that said you got to buy dinner. Here we go. Republican Senator Ben Sass resigns to become University of Florida's president, opening a seat for appointment by Nebraska governor. Now tell me why he resigned. Senator Ben Sass, a Republican who voted to impeach former President Donald Trump after the attack on the U.S. Capitol, officially resigned from the Senate Sunday, with officials expecting his seat to be filled as soon as this week. And that's the Nebraska Republican Governor Jim Pullen will appoint a new senator. So they didn't see that in the cards, did they? And then you have this bonehead that showed his backside on the floor of the House. Where did he go? Here he is. Mike Rogers stepped down from House GOP steering committee after ballot brawl. That's the one got grabbed around the mouth. He said, Rogers said the move would likely happen later this week and confirmed the plan on Monday morning, noting that his departure from the committee is not finalized and wasn't encouraged by fellow colleagues. Yeah, people that are not your colleagues, okay, people that know what you're up to, hey, encouraged you to do that, okay? Did I put this one up yet? Here we go. This ought to brighten your day. Let me see what's going on in chats. Yeah, he's the one that got dragged away. Jax. He's the one that got dragged away from Gates. He didn't lose his wig, Debbie said. I sense it. So, anyway, all of them have been put on notice. Adam Schiff, Swalwell, all of them. It's a throw the bums out mood in the House. And, hey, that's a big deal about Ben Sass. Okay? And who's next? Who's next? We're going to get control of the Senate one way or the other. We're going to get control of our government from criminals one way or the other. If the people try their best and do what they can to the best of their ability and they can't get it done, I feel we have a backup that's going to get it done. And I'll tell you why. Let me see. Nadler was removed. Well, they're not keeping them bums in there. It's a throw the bums out. That's an old political saying. Let me see what I got here. This is in reference to the Biden papers and Jordan, okay? Because he's ready to rock and roll. He's been ready to rock and roll. And he's got investigative backup. Why do you think that Adam Schiff tried to pass a motion that all military intelligence gathered would not be permitted? Would have to be hidden by law. Do you remember when I put that up there, folks? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But this is a post that you can get an idea. Everybody's talking about Biden's confidential or classified papers have China, Iran, and I'm sure that's all true. But what else are we going to come up with, okay? What would happen if texts originating from an FBI agent to several internals discuss that's the search word I put in, okay, in red, possibility of what they did to Kennedy, of the POTUS or a member of his family? What if the text suggests foreign allies were involved? Forget the Russia setup. This is only the beginning. Be careful what you wish for. As the world turns, could messages such as those be publicly disclosed? What happens to the FBI? What happens to the DOJ? What happens to special counsel? What happens in general? Every FBI, DOJ previous case could be challenged. Lawless. Think logically. We haven't started the drops RE human trafficking and slash sacrificing yet. Worst. And those good know who cannot sleep. Those good who know cannot find peace. Those good and who know will not rest until those responsible are held accountable. Nobody can possibly imagine the pure evil and corruption that is out there. Those you trust are the most guilty of sin. Who are we taught to trust? And I cut the bottom part of it off because it's not appropriate to put on this platform as to what has happened to these people, and don't put it in the chats, please. Okay? What needs to happen, not a wish, not what they'd like to happen, but what needs to be done with certain people. The problem we run into is when people take it out too far to include people that they shouldn't be putting in there. But anyway, let me show you this. Just to remind you about, this is the second part. Let me put the first part up. Okay. Under that keyword. This ties into the post number 11 that I put up in the first post that, and only post that Donald Trump ever put up on his site. Post 11, what must be present, what must present itself in order for military intelligence to take over the other civilian three-letter agencies. So, okay. This ties into it. And this is from November 1st, 2017. It's happened before, folks. Okay? They just didn't come out and announce it to everybody. It's happened before. And I'll tell you right now, I'll read it to you. What must be completed to engage military intelligence over three-letter agencies? During the 50s and 60s, federal troops and federalized National Guard forces, accompanied by military intelligence personnel, were deployed to help integrate Southern schools and to help deal with civil disorders in Detroit in 1967 and other cities the year following after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Throughout this period, military intelligence units also continued to collect data on Americans at home who were suspected of involvement in subversive activities. So this has already happened before, back in the 60s. In the late 60s, the Pentagon compiled personal information on more than 100,000 politically active Americans in an effort to quell civil rights and anti-Vietnam War demonstrations, and also to discredit protesters. Think of the Democratic National Convention in 1968. The Army used 1,500 plainclothes agents to watch demonstrations, infiltrate organizations, and spread disinformation. According to one report, the Army had at least, let me go to the next page, at least one observer at every demonstration, okay, of more than 20 people. The Army had a presence at every demonstration of more than 20 people. The Army's activities were summed up by Senator Sam Ervin. I mean, this is documented. It happened. And it was lawful. It was lawful. because certain conditions presented themselves in the 60s where the military could get involved in domestic affairs, allegedly for the purpose of predicting and preventing civil disturbances which might develop beyond the control of state and local officials. Army agents were sent throughout the country to keep surveillance over the way the civilian population expressed their sentiments about government policies. In churches, on campuses, classrooms, public meetings, they took notes, tape recorded, and photographed people who dissented in thought, word, or deed. This included clergymen, editors, public officials, and anyone who sympathized with the dissenters. And then you have a link. But the bottom line is, Trump has had military infiltrate Antifa in all the dissenting local governments. Now, that was something that a contributor posted, that the 17th letter thought this was worthy of reposting. This was not written by the 17th letter, but it was posted, accepted as a post. And they said, "Good job," or something similar to that underneath of it. So the military has already been involved, and the stuff that we're seeing with this character here is only beginning. Last year I discussed Maidan in Ukraine, Maidan. And I said it was a horrible situation. You all should check out what happened there. The Biden documents covered the time period of the Maidan coup in Ukraine. Okay? And materials related to Ukraine, Iran, and the United Kingdom were among the classified documents. And if you think about the first post I put up, it talked about the possibility of what happened to Kennedy being discussed and other countries being involved in those discussions. So this stuff that's going to come out is going to rattle some cages and wake some people up. And what I've already discussed, how a lot of creators are just diving in with both feet and using words that have been taken down. Whole channels have been taken down for saying this stuff, okay? That you see on the screen right now that I can't say. Here, what these hundreds of teachers in one city did, okay? So anybody thinks the military is going to put up with that, got another thing coming. Here we go with another article. Words I can't say, put up by a large influencer. That's the name of a book. The top word there, gender, Queer. That's the name of a book they've been putting out that you can't even show on a video, that they're letting 6th and 7th graders look at, okay? And what else is going to be coming out of this fire hose? This situation here. Sam Bankman-Fried. Scam, Stankman, fraud. Say that 10 times fast. Scam, Stankman, fraud. And guess who all, like I said, worms in a clump of dirt. I showed you the picture of the judge that is going to be handling this. Also handled Ghislaine Maxwell's situation. Okay? And now he's getting attorneys that have experience with Maxwell and El Chapo And who did Trump say he was going to destroy? Was the cartels. And he was going to take kinetic action to destroy them. So, and as far as the teachers union and the National Education Association, all of them, there's going to be criminal investigations into those groups. Okay? Trump called them a cabal. CABAL. So we've got all these people. They have to circle the wagons. They have to get the same lawyers. They have to get the same judges. And it's going to be hard for them to keep their finger in the dam to keep this stuff from coming out. Sam Bankman-Fried's lawyers have experience working on big cases related to drug lord El Chapo and Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, well, good luck, because this is a show and we're all going to be watching it. All of us. Let me see what this is. It's got pencil neck in there. Wait a minute, I got too many posts up. Let me get some of these down. Watermelon head. This is a little bit old post from Donald Trump. Here use the word tater with an R. Tater with an R. Schiff is a sleaze bag. Okay, this is going down in history. Okay, just like they quote George Washington, just like they quote Abraham Lincoln. These quotes and this person's reputation and name is going down in history as a sleaze bag and a tater. How Democrat Adam Schiff abused his power to demand I be kicked off Twitter and simply due to personal vendetta. Okay, so he also wiretapped fellow members of Congress and journalists. And all that's going to be found to be illegal. And there's a come uppin. So I got a couple minutes. My videos aren't playing clear, folks. So I'm just going to sign off. Here's a picture I had for a while. Just to remind you all. J6 response would have been vastly different if the rioters were black. House Sergeant at Arms told investigators, just a quick reminder, William J. Walker, who was the head of National Guard during the insurrection, also indicated he thought more people in the crowd would have died if the mob had been largely black instead of overwhelmingly white. But people have to understand that the person that was Sergeant at Arms at the time is no longer alive. They say he died in a car wreck. I don't know. Hi, Finding Dory. And yes, hit the like button, she says. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Finding Dory. I appreciate it. So I'm going to get out of here for the hour is up. And yes, right. Wild West, you got another thing coming. So I appreciate you all spending your time with me. I thank you very much, and I hope you found this broadcast informative, some things you can share with your friends to help everybody go, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong here, okay? So we'll get together again soon. You all have a great evening, and thank you very much. This is Mountain Man over and out.